Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about Tim Kuniskis, and it's not like Tim to use social media to make posts about future things going on with the brand. We've seen other Stellantis, CEOs like Chris Fuel use LinkedIn. Antonio Filosa loved using LinkedIn to make, product statements and stuff like that. Bob Bordendorf, who's now the Jeep CEO, has done it. But Tim really hasn't used social media, like ever. And then 2 days ago, he posted something on his LinkedIn page that really caught everybody's attention. And let's take a look at that post real quick, and I'll read it to you. So here's Tim's post, and it says, 4 months ago, I returned to the Ram brand with a clear mission to build exciting trucks. Since then, we have been shaping the next evolution of Ram, a bold new chapter that honors the legacy of the brand while redefining its future. There are 25 product announcements planned within the next 18 months, and it all starts on June 8th. I'm proud to be back, proud to be part of this team, and more determined than ever to show the world that nothing stops Ram. 25 product announcements in 18 months starting on June 8th. That's huge news. The first thing is 25 product announcements. This doesn't mean 25 new vehicles in total. This means that, we could see powertrain changes, we could see new vehicles, we could see new trims, we could see a whole bunch of stuff, but it starts June 8th. And today, we're past the midpoint in April. It's Good Friday. So we're getting really close. Within another month and a week, we're going to see these change, or actually a month and 2 weeks, if you want to get technical, we're going to see these changes start. So pretty bold statement from Tim. So I wrote this article today for Mopar Insiders. It's been up on 5th Gen Rams since this morning, and HD Rams as well. And it talks about Tim's post, and we've talked about products in the past of what could be coming. And I wanted to go through some of this on here as well, because I get questions all the time about certain products, and we know some of the products that are coming. But one of the most popular questions I get from people that love Ram is Ram going to bring the Ram Rampage compact pickup to North America? Now, if you're not familiar with the Ram Rampage, it's actually a very unique product. It's designed in Brazil. It's built in Brazil. It's basically a Jeep Compass, the current Jeep Compass, the MP Compass. And what they've done is they've taken the small, wide 4x4 architecture that underpins the Compass and has basically stretched it out to make a long wheelbase version. The Rampage shares the front doors, the A-pillar, and the windshield with the Compass, but it has its own unique body. If you look at capability, it shares a powertrain with it. So down there, it gets a standard 2.2-liter turbocharged diesel, which is brand new, an inline-4 diesel. And then you can step up to a 2-liter turbo GME T4, also known as the Hurricane 4 4-cylinder. Now, the GME T4 is very popular in vehicles here in North America. We've had it in the Cherokee. We've had it it's in the Compass now. It's in the Hornet. It's in the Tonale. It's in the Giulia, Stelvio, Wrangler, Grand Cherokee. It's been in a number of products, and it's pretty proven. So down there, it gets 272 horsepower. It's not a bad engine at all. A little 4-cylinder engine with a turbo. And it seems to be pretty bulletproof. And then the Rampage on top of it, because it shares the underpinnings with the Compass, it gets its capability as well. So you can see here, this is a Rebel model, and it's very off-road oriented for being a little unibody compact pickup. In terms of size, this truck is 0.3 of an inch longer, I think, than the Ford Maverick. So everybody knows how popular the Ford Maverick is for Ford. The Ford Maverick actually outsells the Ford Ranger 5 to 1 last year, something crazy like that, almost 5 to 1, something like that. So these compact pickups are very popular. The segment here in North America is very small. It consists of the Maverick and the Hyundai Santa Cruz. But Ram could really, be a really big player in this market if it decided to build something like this here. Now, there's a couple things that keep me from thinking that this product will eventually come to North America. And the reason why is I wrote an article about it before, how much potential there is for this truck here. But the problem is I don't see it happening anytime soon unless Ram does some really big changes. The first thing is you would have to find a plant here that would build it, because by the time you do tariffs and stuff like that, it would not be affordable to bring this truck here. The other thing is it's considered a premium vehicle down in Brazil. So if you look at the actual pricing structure down there, this is a Bighorn model. This is what they just introduced last year. This is the entry level down there. The Bighorn basically has standard a 2.2 liter turbo diesel. But the problem is every truck in the Rampage lineup comes standard with 4-wheel drive, 9-speed automatic transmission. And if you look at the truck, it's a lot more premium than the Maverick. The Maverick's very plasticky inside, bare bones. If we go down, like here's a Rebel model, very attractive truck. But if we go down to the interior, this is an RT. So this would be your top of the line one. But if you look, the RT is a sporty model. It has Alcantara on the dash, the steering wheel, door panels. It has a bigger screen than the Maverick does. Even though the Maverick got a brand new screen for this year, this one's a very high definition Uconnect 5 system. And I mean, just all these premium bells and whistles. And the problem is in order to compete with the Maverick, they really have to decontent this truck. If you take the price of a Rebel, you're looking at somewhere between $48,000 and $51,000, where the Ford Maverick Tremor is about $42,000. So if you really want to bring this truck here, you're going to have to take an offer front-wheel drive as standard. You're going to have to kind of decontent the trucks, maybe offer a tradesman model to go with the base model Ford Maverick. However, I really think this truck would do a lot of damage here in that segment, meaning like it would get tons of sales because, again, you're looking at mid-sized trucks compared to these compact trucks. People want these compact trucks. One is they're cheap. Two is the fact that you can fit it in a garage. A lot of the mid-sized trucks are really pushing where full-size trucks were back in the 90s now, and full-size trucks just simply won't fit in most people's garages. So there's a lot of demand for smaller trucks that get good fuel economy and that are affordable. I think this thing would do really good here. The problem is, again, is you have to basically decontent the truck in order for it to be competitive against the Ford Maverick, because you don't want to push that boundaries where your Rebel model is $48,000 and you're looking at bringing trucks in about $50,000. It's just going to compete against the bigger trucks, and that's the same exact problem that we seen with the midsize Dakota back in 2007, 2008, and even 10. So that's the problem. That's what happened with the Dakota. It got kind of cannibalized by a Ram 1500. So if we go back through and look at other things, Tim has also been very vocal, and so has the CFO, about offering a more affordable Ram 1500 lineup to basically replace the Ram 1500 Classic. Now, if you know anything about the Classic, it was outdated. Yes, that's for sure. However, a lot of people like that truck because it was affordable. By the time the rebates and stuff got in it, you can get into one for like mid 30s, if not low 30s, depending on how you negotiated with the dealer. It was the cheapest way to get into a V8 full-size truck. Yeah, it didn't have all the bells and whistles, but for people who had, less than better credit or less than good credit, people that just wanted, an appliance just to get the job done, the Ram 1500 Classic was an important part of the lineup, and it still made up a huge part of Ram 1500 sales, to the point where that's one of the reasons why Ram actually took over Chevrolet for the second best selling pickup truck for a year or two back a few years ago. So since that truck is gone, everything's kind of gone up in price, and Ram needs a lineup of sub $50,000 pickups. Now, again, I just posted this a couple weeks ago because the Stellantis CFO, Doug Osterman, was talking about it at an investor meeting, saying that they're looking at, offering a new budget-friendly lineup of Ram sub $50,000 trucks. And this goes right on par with what Tim was saying. And we've already kind of seen this happening. So, like right here, this is a Ram 1500 Tradesman Sport. This has the Pentastar V6 in it. And if you look at it, it's basically a crew cab pickup, short box. You can get this truck right now at dealers for about $48,000. And that doesn't include the rebates. That's just, pricing it out before rebates. We've seen the Ram 1500 Warlock. That's based on the Tradesman. That's basically a decontented Rebel. Basically, instead of having like all the, cool graphics, and it has the base Tradesman looks, it has the same tires, same suspension, same powertrain. So you're even getting the Hurricane standard output engine, but you get cloth bench seats and a basic 8.4 inch, touchscreen, but you still get LED headlamps. It's just a cool truck. I think it's the best value for 2025 by far. But the very interesting thing is it started out at $56,000. But since Tim's come back, they put rebates on it, and now it starts right at 50. So for $2,000 more than this truck, you can step up to a Hurricane power engine instead of a Pentastar powered truck, and you get the same kind of goodies, off-road like goodies that the Rebel gets. Then, of course, this is the old classic truck, but if you go to this one here, this is another package that they're offering now on the Tradesman. If you like the Night Edition trucks, the blacked out look on, you know, the Bighorn and Laramie trucks, and even the Limited, you can get a base model Tradesman with that. So again, 8.4-inch touchscreen, no navigation, bench seat with cloth interior. You do get a power sliding rear window standard, adaptive cruise control standard, LED headlamps standard, LED fog lights standard as well on the Night Edition. But it's a truck that will cost you $48,000 with four-wheel drive and a Pentastar V6. So not breaking the bank. And again, these are prices that I'm telling you are before rebates and stuff that are going on. This is what you can price it out on ramtrucks.com. So there are offerings out there under $50,000, but what Tim wants is even more. And we've actually seen Ram test such a vehicle. I was out spy shooting and I caught this. This is a 2026 Ram 1500 Warlock, and it has a Pentastar V6 in it. So the first thing you're going to see is obviously it's the Warlock model. It's got the tow hooks. It's got the same Wrangler Duratrack tires as the Rebel, same suspension, everything. But you're going to notice the badging on the hood. It says eTorque. So if you haven't been following the Ram 1500 in the last couple of years, basically when they announced that they were discontinuing the Ram 1500 Classic, they introduced a Ram Warlock package for the Ram 1500 DT trucks. This started in very late 2023. And the thing that made them really cool was you could either get Pentastar or Hemi power. So that was kind of cool in a way. However, for 2025, with the updated looks and stuff, they did away with the Pentastar engine and made the Hurricane engine standard. So if you pick the Warlock option for 2025, you automatically get a Hurricane standard output inline 6, so 420 horsepower. If you look at the Tradesman lineup, you can obviously it starts with the Pentastar V6, and then you can get a Hurricane standard output. If you look at the price, the Hurricane engine actually adds $2,695, so $2,695 to the price of a standard Tradesman. So by adding the Pentastar back into the lineup, this will actually cut $2,700 out of the Ram 1500 Warlock's actual cost. So if you're looking at $50,000 right now, you're looking at a truck that's almost $3,000 cheaper. So you're looking at just over 47. So again, it's about making as many trucks sub $50,000 trucks available to the public as possible. So I believe that this is one of the 25 product unveilings. And again, I just caught this recently. You can see that it's testing for emissions. It's got the emissions exhaust tip out the back. Whenever you see a vehicle with this kind of exhaust tip out the back, it's basically extended because they got like little sensors in there and they're testing for emissions. So you can see that it's like this ceramic color and it's got like a metal tip on it. It's basically them emissions testing. And you can even see in this picture here, he's got the laptop out and he's, getting data while he's driving. So again, emissions testing kind of puts it in play with, hey, this truck is more than likely coming for 2026. Again, it could be for the export market. We don't know, but it makes sense that they're offering more affordable options. It makes sense that the Pentastar is coming back. If we look at another product that, obviously Tim's been very vocal about, is the new midsize truck that they've been talking about for quite a long time. Now, Ram has been really late to the game with a midsize truck, and, Chevrolet, Ford, GMC, Nissan, Toyota, they all have midsize trucks. Even Honda has a midsize truck with the Ridgeline. The thing is this truck is going to be based on the STLA large platform. So it's going to be a unibody like the Ridgeline. Another thing that's very interesting is they talked about it being built at Belvedere. Originally, we heard about, possibility of a midsize truck back in 2021. 2023, we got the UAW tentative agreements, and they said, hey, we're going to save Belvedere. We're going to bring production back to Belvedere starting in 2028, so 5 years from then. Or actually, 2027, and then it was pushed back to 2028 for this midsize truck. And then in the last year, we've been told by members of the UAW at Belvidere that they've been pulling tooling from the plant and sending it to Mexico to build Ram 1500s down there, and that they had no idea that they were even going to finish what they said about Belvidere up until January. So January 22nd, I posted this article that basically Stellantis, has confirmed that the midsize production, or midsize pickup production, would be at Belvidere in 2027. Now, here's the interesting thing. The UAW didn't know about this until the day before. Another thing is, there's no confirmation still that this is going to be really happening yet, because now what we're hearing is that this product might be moved to possibly some place like Toledo South, where the Gladiator is being built, have the Gladiator move over to the Wrangler line. And then Belvidere could be getting other products. So there's all this stuff still going on. We're still waiting to hear word from, some people within the UAW of what's going to happen, because they were supposed to have meetings this past week. So there could be a lot of changes going on. We don't know yet, but a midsize truck will happen. My biggest concern is with the STLA Large platform. You got a unibody truck. You're going to be looking at, even if they build an EV or not, you're going to have air suspension. You're going to have all this stuff added onto it. The problem is the cost. By the time you get this midsize truck up, into the market, are you going to be competing with the Ram 1500? The Ram 1500 cannibalized the Dakota, because everybody was like, hey, I want a bigger truck for the money. Why would I not just buy the bigger truck? So Dakota sales completely declined after 2007, and to the point where in 2011 they built only a handful of them and they canceled it. So that's my problem. If we look at Ford's a great example. Ford is really pushing the boundaries with the Ranger. Of course, we talked about the Ranger just a few minutes ago with the Maverick. The Maverick, starts at 23 or 24-ish, goes up to about 42, 43. The Ranger starts in the 30s and goes up to about 55 with the Ranger Raptor. Ford has played a very delicate game about pricing. So you can get a fully loaded, pretty much Ranger for the cost of a, F-150 STX. So they're really playing that game so they don't really overlap too much. And Ram, if in order for this truck to work, they're going to have to be very delicate about the whole situation with price. It's just, that's how it's going to have to be. So my concern is this truck going to be competitive, or is it going to be, cannibalized by the Ram 1500? That's my biggest concern about this truck. We've also seen tons of Ramchargers out testing. We know this truck has been moved, it's been pushed back a little bit, but it's been moved forward in front of the Ram 1500 Rev to make its debut. Now, this is, if you don't know anything about the Ramcharger, this is an electric vehicle. However, it's a range extending electric vehicle. So instead of being all electric, it has a smaller battery pack, a 92 kilowatt hour battery pack. It has a Pentastar V6 under the hood, so it doesn't have a frunk. It's got a V6 engine under the hood. But what the V6 is, it's connected to a basically, I think, 150 kilowatt inverter. And what it does is you have a tank of, for gas in the back as well. So you can charge the battery up, run it down, and then when it gets to maybe 10% or whatnot, the Pentastar will kick on and does not power the wheels. It does not power the wheels. It's just a generator. So it generates enough power to keep the battery charged so you can keep going. So if you charge that battery up and actually put a full tank of gas in this thing, Ram is saying in perfect conditions, this truck should get up to 690 miles of range. That's 1,100 kilometers. That's crazy range. Considering that the Ram 1500 Rev, which is another vehicle in this 25 vehicle portfolio, that product announcements that Tim was talking about, they canceled the long range model of that because the 500 mile of range battery would be simply $25,000, $27,000. So now that truck, using basically just EV power, so batteries only, would only get 350 miles of range. This truck here will dominate that. And cost-wise, because the battery cost might even be not as expensive as what we heard. So that's going to be really, really interesting. So batteries, right now, Tim was saying in an article that I posted the other day that batteries, he goes, let's just say that, it's $100 per kilowatt hour. This truck has a 92 kilowatt hour battery pack, basically a $9,200 battery. And then he goes, let's say, for example, the Ram 1500 Rev, has a 168 kilowatt hour battery. So you're looking at a significantly more expensive battery pack. So we'll see. Again, you can get more range with this. This just seems like the more attractive option. If it proves to be successful, I don't know if they'll go forward with the Ram Rev. There just doesn't seem like to be the interest like there was a few years ago, considering that the Ramcharger can kind of be like tow, and even if it can tow the same, has the same kind of payload and everything. But what happens is, if you're towing with a basically just a straight battery electric truck, you lose half of your range because of the weight you're towing. Where this truck, because it has an onboard generator, you'll be able to tow for a lot farther distance. It just seems like the all-out better package. So if you want to know more about the Ram 1500 Ramcharger, there's plenty of videos on this channel, including pictures of them at night testing, as well as these spy photos and breaking that truck down. So yes, the Rev and Ramcharger are two of those products for sure. Another product that we've talked about is the return of the Hemi. I certainly believe that June 8th will be the official announcement that the Hemi V8 is coming back to the 2026 Ram 1500. We know that it will be for sure. Mexico's already started production. Eventually, Hemi production will be moved to the US. What we're hearing is, we originally said on Mopar Insiders that it would be like August. However, what we've been hearing is not August of this year, August of probably next year it'll be moved, because they got to do tooling stuff and that. And we're already seeing issues in the supply chain because of the Hurricane engines and the Hemi engines being built, that basically they had to shut down production at Warren Truck for the Wagoneer because they're moving all the Hurricane engines over to basically Sterling Heights or Shap, because they don't have enough to build trucks, because they're building Hemi engines as well. So there's going to have to be some kind of give, and what we've heard is the Dundee assembly plant will be getting Hemi engines eventually. It makes sense because almost all the products that the Hemis are going to go in are here in Michigan or possibly Windsor, because we know that we've heard that the Charger is going to get the Hemi as well. But one of those vehicles besides the Ram 1500 that is looking to get a Hemi for 2026 is also the return of the TRX. So we're going to be getting a HELLCAT powered Ram, from what we've heard. We've basically talked to a lot of sources, confirm this. We don't know if it's going to be the standard HELLCAT power one, or if it's going to be HELLCAT Red Eye. More than likely, it'll be just standard HELLCAT. And then what we've heard is it's going to get more power. So obviously, we know the Ram or the Ford Raptor R has been boosted a little bit in horsepower. So we don't know if it's going to get, because the Raptor R has 720. We don't know if the HELLCAT's going to be boosted up to, it's 717 or maybe a little bit more. We don't know. But the RHO will stay in the lineup for sure. It's been very successful for Ram. And I've drove both trucks. I drove the old TRX, and I recently had an RHO for a week from Ram. And I will tell you that the TRX is way more fun. It's an amazing truck for the amount of horsepower it has. It's a lot of fun. The problem is you're always in single digit gas mileage territory. It sucks on fuel, and after a while it gets kind of like daunting driving it, because you're constantly fueling it up, and you are it's more fun than it is a good daily driver. Where if you look at the Hurricane high output in the RHO, it gets, about, I average about 14.5 miles per gallon in a mix of city and highway driving, which isn't bad considering it's got, 13 inches and 14 inches of, suspension travel. But the thing is like that truck overall was quiet inside, got good gas mileage, just seemed like the overall better daily driver. So both trucks will be available for 2026 is what we're hearing. Obviously HELLCAT engines are back in production, so we don't think that there will be a limited run like we originally did. That was the big question. But HELLCAT engines are going to be back for 2026. So that is a good news for Ram, but expect it to look exactly like the RHO. There won't be much of a difference from what we hear. They'll just be basically powertrain changes. So good that you'll get an updated TRX, but I'm sure a lot of people are questioning their purchase of a TRX Final Edition for 2024. So, and there's even some of those trucks still on lots, so it'll be interesting to see the value of those trucks. And then one other product that we're going to talk about is not very exciting, but it will mean a lot to Ram. Ram has basically, when production ended of the Ram 15 or Ram ProMaster City in Turkey, the problem was that was not a huge seller for Ram, but it played an important segment for the Ram Professional brand. So what we've been hearing for quite a long time, I wrote this back in August 12th of 2024, and this was like the third article I did on it, is we will probably see a Ram ProMaster City van return to the US. Now this will be based, from what we hear from our sources, on the Fiat E Scudo, which is this van right here. This is a very popular van in Europe. It will be produced in Turkey, I believe, still, but it will be battery electric only. So if you look at this van, it's very stylish compared to the outgoing one. Ram wants to compete with Ford Pro and the Ford Transit Connect, but it seems like this battery electric one will be the one that they pick. So like this one's the Fiat version, but if you look at it, it's got an electric motor with 2 battery options. So more than likely we will get the top of the line battery option here in the US. So that means 205 miles of range, or 330 kilometers on a full charge. Basically has a 2,200 pound or 1 ton payload capacity. It has 233 cubic feet of space in the back. So, I mean, if you're like a flower shop, or even like my uncle had a Ram ProMaster van for his fire extinguisher business for sales and service and stuff, it worked out really good. That would be the kind of thing that this vehicle would do. It wouldn't be like a big replacement for, like, you know, the Ram ProMaster or anything, but this would be for like those who are doing small jobs. If you have like a little small, like, like if you're like a handyman or something like that and need a van to carry stuff around, but you don't need a full-size van, that's where this thing would be. The interesting thing will be price, because again, if we're looking at battery electrics, we get kind of pricey, but you can see that this thing's going to have plenty of room inside of it. You know, it's not a huge van, so with a smaller battery pack, it might be affordable. So we don't know anything about price or anything for the North American market, but this is one of the products that we've kept hearing over and over again that it will be coming for sure. And it's supposed to be coming at the end of this year. This is what we've been told. So it'll be imported from Turkey, but we'll see. So anyways, those are some of the products that we're looking at. Again, very exciting, 25 products in just a small time from Tim Kuniskis saying, hey, 18 months, 25 new products. And again, some might be trim models, some might be all new models. We don't know yet. So stay tuned. We'll be covering this on Mopar Insider's 5th Gen Rams, HD Rams, and the Mopar Junkie YouTube channel. So make sure to hit subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.